Former U.S. Ambassador to Israel Dan Shapiro appeared on CBS News Mornings earlier today to discuss Israel's role in this war and how it could change moving forward. Here's some of what he said.
I was in Israel for the first week of the war, and despite daily 6, 8, 10 missile warnings, both from Iran and from Hezbollah, I would say there was grim determination by most of the Israeli public to continue because they see this as a maybe once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to try to bring down a regime in Iran that has been their adversary and in some way torturer for decades. Obviously, the Ayatollah's son has been appointed, although he hasn't been seen, but he's been appointed as the new supreme leader. It appears the main structure of the regime is holding. There's an ideological core. There are hundreds of thousands of people under arms who are really fighting for their survival, both the regime's survival and maybe their own personal survival. So I think it's unlikely the regime is going to crumble in a short period of time. And I do see the possibility that there's going to be a real divergence of goals between Israel, which would like to continue and try to pursue that objective, and the United States, which now President Trump has to deal with rising oil prices, supply chain disruptions, markets dipping, economic and infrastructure damage among the Arab states who are on the receiving end of so many of these attacks. I think the president is more likely to look for an off-ramp and a way to declare mission accomplished, that the degradation of the main capabilities, missile, nuclear, and naval threats that Iran poses have been accomplished, even while a weakened regime is left in place.
The former ambassador also says he thinks Israel will continue to strike forces like the IRGC that were crushing Iranian protests back in January, and hopes that the people of Iran might rise up and overthrow the regime themselves.
Let's turn to CBS News Middle East contributor Courtney Kealy. You're here to provide more context about the intense fighting that we're seeing with Israel and Lebanon. So kind of describe the escalated sort of fighting that we've seen on both sides and how Lebanon factors into all this.
I can bring you voices from both Beirut and northern Israel because I lived nearly a decade between the two. I'm also talking with people in Tehran. So what happened last night was Hezbollah unleashed a barrage of missiles, about 200 missiles over the border and about 20 drones, and Israel responded. But Israel has also been hitting Hezbollah targets hard. But last night, while I was on the phone with one Lebanese person whose family is buried in a cemetery in Bin Jbeil in the southern border, it's personal for people. We realized that an attack on the beach was a block away from a friend who I just got off the phone with. And that beachfront attack was on a car and was most likely a targeted assassination. Israel has incredible intelligence on things like this. But it's really the center of Beirut. It's really on the beach. People were along the Corniche because it's Ramadan. They're out late. And on the beach, it was displaced people in tents that are there because they had to flee Dahia in the southern suburbs, which is a Hezbollah stronghold, and southern Lebanon. So I also spoke to somebody who had spoken to the people that were living there right now, just temporarily displaced. So it's happening within the civilian population, and there were 8 people killed, not just the target in the car.
So, Courtney, you know that this U.S.-backed ceasefire agreement established in 2024 was supposed to end temporarily the fighting between Hezbollah and Israel. It's been obviously broken. The president says the U.S. is monitoring the situation. I want to play a bit of that.
We're working on it very hard. We love Lebanon. We love the people of Lebanon. And we're working very hard. We got to get rid of the Hezbollah. Has been a disaster for many years.
To say the least, that's an understatement. But what kind of ceasefire talks are happening?
They're broken.
Yeah.
It's completely broken. The Lebanese president did try to reach out and reestablish contact. That was rebuffed.
With the U.S.
With the U.S. Yeah, Hezbollah has taken over. But also people, very credible journalists have pointed out there's been between 10,000 to 15,000 ceasefire violations over the last 15 months. And 350 people were killed, including Hezbollah, but civilians and children. So this was ongoing, low level, until Khamenei was killed. And then you had Hezbollah react. But the problem right now is the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is saying that Hezbollah and they are carrying out these attacks together on Lebanese soil. So as Matt Gutman said, it's going to draw the Israeli army towards a new front. if you think of just the sea and then the border and then the valley between the mountains, it's kind of like a U where the Israelis will probably go into southern Lebanon more and into the Bekaa Valley, which has always been a training ground traditionally for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, among many things. So this is kind of, for the people that remember, they remember Israel moving into southern Lebanon in 1982 and staying there till 2000. But as one friend said, I feel like my country is being destroyed and it's the end of Lebanon, but it's not going to happen. And they always are resilient. And my friends in northern Israel, are saying, we have shelters. My family in Nazareth is okay. My family in Haifa is okay. But the reach of the missiles, when Hezbollah shows its hand, which is very rare, it really shows how much reach they have and what an arsenal they have. And so this is a real escalation of a different war front that is not good, while Iran is enduring airstrikes and hoping that the regime somehow will crumble.
It's so wonderful to have the context that you can bring us from your network and your experience in the region. I do want to ask, though, because this has been confusing to me, we've seen very little from some of the other Iranian proxies, like the Houthis, like Hamas. Why is that?
Well, Hamas has pretty much been decimated. They don't really have the power. They don't have the ability from Gaza to do anything at all. And that's a stagnant front right now, with the Board of Peace not really being able to do anything just yet. The Houthis, there was a divide between the Saudis and the Emirates and the support they had. So there was a split between the support they were getting, and then also they're still fighting for their own land, for Yemen. And then I'll just tell you, one person in Tehran is speaking to me now too, and they say they're starting to lose hope.
Wow. All right, Courtney, always great to have you, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate it.